What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land. Today we are going back into the world of Hyrule to visit Breath of the Wild in crazy locations that we probably forgot about over the years. The game came out 5 years ago, and after posting the last one I did about a couple of weeks ago, you guys were astonished by some of the locations still that some of you still have not found some of those within the last 5 years. So today I have another list of 7 locations that you either missed or forgot about in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Once again, if you were featured, you will be mentioned in this video. Thank you so much to those that sent in their comments. Trust me, I tried to read every single one and see which one is the best. If yours hasn't been picked yet, go ahead and try again. You could appear in the next video. And if you have any locations yourself that are just cool, something that's unique to you or a good look, go ahead and send them in as well. Comment them down below. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Zelda Breath of the Wild and Nintendo in general. And let's get into the list of 7 cool locations you missed or forgot about in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So the first location we have on this list sends us back to Hyrule Castle, and the upper throne room is accessible in this castle, believe it or not, and you can actually see through some broken glass windows that, yep, Ganon's egg sac is in there. Now before going in there, I want to go a little higher because it's a whole process how this thing works. You can actually go a couple of rooms above it just to see where the egg sac is kind of forming from, and it's forming from the ceiling, well technically from where you're standing, the floor, and you can see all these red veins and stuff, like maybe it's its blood kind of flowing through and pumping through and kind of forming the creature. It's kind of creepy, it's very weird, and there's also a DLC chest I guess I just completely missed. But if you go one room lower, we get to go through that broken glass and go into the balcony area before actually fighting him in the arena, and you can see Calamity Ganon's big egg sac floating from the ceiling. It's disgusting. You can see all the veins again and get a closer look without actually triggering the boss fight, which is a really cool area to look at, and it's one that definitely still gives me creeps. I wonder what he would have looked like if we allowed him to bake in that egg a little while longer. The Great Plateau is where you start the game, but it always has a spot that actually reminds me of just the past. Towards the northwest part of the plateau, you'll come across some charred grass, and I will never forget this part during the Nintendo Treehouse presentation when they were just showing off this area, and I always loved this area. It just is very mysterious. There's like a gust of wind blowing right when you get in this alley, and of course, you can set all the grass ablaze and actually ride the wind all the way through the valley. It's not like a super crazy unique place, but it's a fun way to play with the physics in this game. For instance, the fire physics and watching the fire just spread throughout the grass field and burning away. And of course, having the wind updraft as well, it just shows how great this game is, and it always reminds me of the very early days of Breath of the Wild when the game was first being shown off. The ancient Stump is a big mystery within Breath of the Wild. If you go north of the Colosseum and north of Mount Daphnis, you'll notice that there is a giant tree trunk stuck in this pond with a bridge going across it. Now, odds are you probably came across this and ventured across to find a giant flame sword, which is great, but what is going on with this tree? It's a very big mystery that people are trying to figure out for a very long time. Was it somehow an old spot of another Great Deku tree or something? Was the tree some type of home to some type of creatures or something? Or maybe like a big forested area at one time with one giant central tree where a village was surrounding it? Well, we know that there might have been a village actually beneath the tree, as we can look in the water and actually see ruined houses merged under the water. And it's really interesting because after playing Age of Calamity, you get to see a lot of these houses around the tree built and in contact in like little neighborhoods and areas where people lived. But man, it's really cool to see where there's actually houses down there, and this was actually probably never flooded in the first place. There was never any water, and there was probably houses surrounding the tree in a circle, which is really cool. But now it's just inhabited by these guys. Right beside the Zerko Mesa in the Gerudo Highlands, you will find a peculiar area. You'll climb the snowy mountain, and making your way through the snowy terrain, you'll find a little camp. Eventually, upon further inspection, you'll notice a campfire going, which means clearly someone has just recently been there, or are they still there? You'll notice also piles of bananas just sitting there for the taking, and if you go near the camp and start walking in, you'll get ambushed by tons of different Yiga clan soldiers, which is very funny. It seems like they either set up a trap or maybe they just went hunting for a while and you tried to invade their spot and they knew it because it's their precious bananas. They're not going to just leave it unattended. definitely don't mess with Yiga. But before we continue, I want to thank today's sponsor, eWin Racing Chairs. They have some really crazy chair selections, and I mean a lot. There are so many different colors and styles that you can choose from for yourself, and I got me more of a comfy fabric-fitted work chair that helps me to not strain my back when I edit videos. What goes into making this chair so special? Well, let's start out about the free movement. You can move this wherever you want with the 5 double-sided wheels on the bottom, allowing you to spin around and even move all around the room any way that you please. This is also a heavy-duty chair and holds up to 550 pounds. Now, I'm only about 180, so I don't know if there's going to be 3 of me in this chair, but you know what? It holds a lot of weight, so if I want to ever put something in it, I guess it won't fall apart, because this thing is definitely heavy-duty. But it's more than just it being heavy-duty, because you can also raise and lower the chair to better fit you. Maybe you want to be higher one day, or maybe you want to shrink down and be lower. Also can recline all the way back, and I definitely need this because sometimes I'm just very tired after editing a video for like 4 or 5 hours in a row. This is definitely the chair to relax in, and it even rocks a little bit, which is also nice. Once again, mine has more of a fabric finish, but you can get yours in glittering PU leather that actually glows at night. You're such a good chair. On Nintendo Land, what else does it do? Well, let me tell you. It has 4D armrests, which allow you to actually move the arms in almost any way imaginable. For one, you can move them up and down, and you can even move them from the left inward and to the right outward in order to kind of position yourselves in a better way. You can even slide it forward and back to even position yourselves in the most optimal way imaginable. Sometimes I want to work and my arms are not able to match up with the desk, so all I have to do is raise the armrest and boom, my arm is parallel with the desk and I don't have any strain on my wrist. I can also lower them so that way it goes underneath the desk when I scoot up to game. Sometimes when I want to casually play and bring the controller to me and sit back and relax, I can flare the armrest out in order for my elbows to stick out when I game. This is definitely the best gaming work chair hybrid I have ever used in my life. You guys can get your hands on one using my special link in the description down below, and you can save 20% off using code Nin10 at checkout. So make sure that you guys get your own eWin gaming chair, and thank you to eWin for sponsoring this video. There is a really cool secret at Dueling Peak Stable. Now, if you go to the stable and take the path to the north, you'll notice a bridge, and that is Kakariko Bridge. Now, you'll probably just walk across it and go about your day, or maybe even jump off and find a Korok seed on the side of the bridge, but there's something else that's very special about this bridge. If you go underneath it, you'll notice there's a little campsite as if someone has been here and spent the night here, and this probably is a reference to Link to the Past. There's an area where you can go underneath the bridge to talk to a guy that will sell you a bottle, which is very interesting, and this would be a very cool Easter egg if that's what Nintendo was getting at, which I do think, because this is one of the only bridges in the game that has a little area underneath, which is super cool. Now, Dove also claimed that if you continue going eastward down the river, you could find a waterfall with a hidden hamlet near it, and I wasn't able to find the hamlet, but it's a really cool view at night. You get to look all the way down the river and see the background, and it's just pure beautiful. Now, Jaden brought up how the Zonai Ruins pillars could actually match up with the 7 pillars from Twilight Princess. I don't necessarily think that's what's going on here, because I could only really find 4 concrete pillars, unless some are broken and just are not standing, but I think these are just more of a reference to whatever the Zonai tribe are, and this is kind of like their ancient ritual ground. Regardless of the significance of this place, you can climb the towers for some chests and even for some Koroks, and it's just a really fun area to climb and look at, especially as you're climbing the tower and looking at the jungle aspect behind you. I am a sucker for the jungle biome in Breath of the Wild, so I definitely had to include this one on this list. Oh yeah, and I did this. Last but not least, we have Tingle Island and his brother islands surrounding it. These are super cool islands that extrude all the way out of the water and high up into the sky as cliff faces as well. Now, if you're a super elite gamer like me, you could drive your Master Cycle Zero all the way up the wooden path. Hold on. You can drive it all the way up the path for a cool little ride that can be a little bit challenging, and you get to just see all the boardwalks connecting all the islands, which is just super cool. This is a location I don't think a lot of people missed, but I do think a lot of people probably forgot about just how cool this was, especially at night as you see the moon come over the water. You get to just walk around all these wooden beams around the different islands. It's a really satisfying feeling. Thank you everybody for submitting your cool locations that you guys have found throughout the map, and if you guys have any more that you would like to share, whether they're just small little tidbits within the world or maybe some story building that you could connect connect together by just looking at the location. Let me know what you have found. Anything works, and if it's just cool, it could appear on this list. Thank you so much for tuning in, and like always, I will see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.